Honestly, I'm not sure if all these stories are true. Something about the echoes and shadows just doesn't add up. I'm Kim, and this is Hung Channel.
Do you know about the haunted history of St. Stephen's College in Stanley? What if the quiet halls and parade grounds still echo with footsteps from the past? By the end of this journey, you'll understand why some say the spirits of wartime soldiers never left, and why the campus feels alive with memories you can't see. Chapter 1: The Past and Present of the College. St. Stephen's College, founded in 1903 in Sai Ying Pun and relocated to Stanley in 1928, has long been one of the most renowned boarding schools in Hong Kong. Initially, it admitted only a handful of students, with its teaching philosophy closely aligned with British education, earning the respect of Chinese intellectuals. After the Stanley campus officially opened in 1929, this sprawling 15-hectare campus, with its distinctive European architectural style and coastal scenery, was praised as one of the most unique secondary schools in Hong Kong. However, its tranquility was completely shattered in December 1941. Following the outbreak of the Pacific War, Hong Kong became a prime target for the Japanese forces. As they advanced rapidly, St. Stephen's College, situated on the Stanley Peninsula, was requisitioned by the British Army as an emergency military hospital. On the morning of December 25, 1941, later known as Black Christmas, Japanese troops broke through the defenses and stormed the college. What followed inside the school buildings were acts of extreme brutality, later recorded as some of the most notorious atrocities committed by the Japanese during the Battle of Hong Kong. After the war, the campus was incorporated into the Stanley internment camp, holding thousands of Allied soldiers and civilians. The college buildings thus became a site commemorating war, suffering, and countless lost lives. Even today, visitors walking through the campus can see memorial plaques and sculptures along the heritage trail, reminding all not to forget this painful history. Chapter 2: The Shadow of Massacre. On the morning of December 25, 1941, Governor Sir Mark Aitchison Young formally announced the surrender that afternoon, ending 18 days of intense fighting. St. Stephen's College had already been repurposed as a temporary military hospital and emergency aid station, with nearly 100 wounded British, Canadian, and Indian soldiers and medical personnel awaiting treatment or recovery. Large Red Cross flags hung throughout the campus, signifying under international humanitarian law that this was a protected medical zone. The morning calm was abruptly shattered by the sound of marching feet. Approximately 200 Japanese soldiers forcibly entered the campus and stormed the college buildings. Ignoring the Red Cross, they brutally stabbed helpless wounded soldiers lying in their beds. Within half an hour, dozens of patients awaiting care were murdered. Even the surviving nurses and medical staff were not spared. Historical records indicate that some were killed after being subjected to collective violence. After the massacre, the Japanese forced the surviving, wounded, and medical personnel to carry the bloodied corpses and mattresses outside, burning them on a pyre made from broken tables, chairs, and wooden debris. After the war, when the campus was converted into Stanley internment camp, prisoners collected any remaining bones, fragments, and cloth from the burned remains and buried them in Stanley Cemetery. Chapter 3: Drill, Commands, and the Replay of the Invisible. The most persistent legend surrounds the school's main parade ground. According to janitors, late at night when the campus is empty, one can hear the sound of orderly marching. The sound resembles that of an old radio, as if transmitted from another time. Occasionally, hoarse commands accompany the steps. Short, sharp, and unlike in modern speech. Some say these are the spirits of soldiers who died during the war, eternally trapped on the parade ground, repeating their drills night after night. Even more unsettling is the timing of these sounds. They often occur only between 2 and 3 in the morning. Most students are asleep, and the campus is nearly deserted. Many who have approached the parade ground to investigate find it empty, yet the sounds seem closer, sometimes even accompanied by faint tremors underfoot. Some offer rational explanations. Perhaps the wind from the nearby sea, combined with the resonance of wooden structures in the buildings, mixes with the brain's memories, creating the illusion of marching sounds. Others believe these sounds and legends are echoes of lives not fully recorded or spoken, memories that traverse time, replaying endlessly across the campus. Regardless of their truth, for many St. Stephen's alumni, the nocturnal echoes of the parade ground have become a presence both familiar and eerie. Chapter 4: Dormitory Cries, Fluttering Clothes, and Uninvited Water. Some recall that walking into the dormitories at St. Stephen's College, the otherwise quiet corridors would suddenly become animated. Clothes and hangers would sway on their own, as if invisible hands were tugging them. Even with windows closed and no breeze, garments moved, accompanied by inexplicable clanging of metal. On certain floors, in the bathrooms, people have heard faucets turn on by themselves at night, water gushing suddenly and echoing sharply down the hallways. The sound, piercing in the dead of night, sometimes seems to accompany a person just leaving a store. But upon opening the door, the room is empty. Even more chilling are the reports of cries. These are described as low, intermittent, sometimes restrained moans, as if the anguished calls of someone who suffered for a long time. Students, awoken by the sounds at night, would try to trace their source, only to find the corridor silent at its end. Attempts to illuminate or investigate the source often made the sounds vanish faster than they appeared. Such unexplainable experiences have led many to attribute them to wartime memories and environmental resonance. Perhaps the shadows of history are projected at certain moments. In any case, this series of eerie events has become an inseparable part of St. Stephen's Nights. Chapter 5: The White-Clad Woman and the Endless Path. Within the campus lies a short path, marked at just over 100 meters on maps, yet it does many report a strange sensation upon walking through it. Once on the path, time seems distorted. The phone may show only 5 minutes past it, yet it feels as if an hour has elapsed. One street light after another illuminates the way, but the end seems forever unreachable. Many describe this temporal dislocation as dreamlike, almost nightmarish. In addition, some have reported seeing a white-clad woman, often appearing on the sports field or along the foggy roadside. She is described as slowly approaching, head bowed, silent. When brushed past, a sudden chill, as if long hair swept across the face, is felt. These experiences continue to send shivers down students' spines even years later. Some witnesses describe the white figure as deliberately following them for a stretch. When they look back, she has already blended into the dusk and mist. Many say this is a residue of history, a trace of those who experienced life and death on this land, yet have not found true rest. The mystery of the path and the woman's apparition is not merely a story. It connects to the memory of St. Stephen's College, bridging history and perception, leaving every visitor with an indelible impression and emotion. Chapter 6: The Symphony of History, Memory, and Fear. At night, St. Stephen's College is filled with stories that cannot be ignored. The campus has borne heavy history, transformed into a hospital witnessing massacre, later serving as an internment camp, a place where life and death and fear intermingled. These real historical events have deeply affected the land, leaving indelible marks. Of course, some admit that many of the sounds and visions may arise from optical illusions, echoes, architectural structures, or environmental resonances. Yet, the emotional responses they trigger are real, tapping into humans' instinctive fears. From the perspective of psychology and folklore studies, historical trauma and collective memory are often imagined and retold through stories, sounds, and specific settings. When people hear strange noises, they project fear, imagination, and past suffering onto the scene, what is sometimes called the field effect. We may never determine if these phenomena are truly supernatural. But it is this uncertainty, this repeated imagining, that makes the nights at St. Stephen's College an unfinished film of memories. Whether one believes in ghosts or not, these stories and histories remind us fear is not only of the unknown, but also of the past, history echoing in the deepest recesses of our hearts. I'm Kim. Please subscribe, like, and share. And stay with me. You will never face the dark unknown.